In a future where technology was meant to save humanity, one invention becomes its greatest threat. A news reporter delivers a grim announcement. AI robots are destroying the country. A robot named Harlan, originally built to save humanity, is now doing the exact opposite. Military forces launch an attack against Harlan, but the powerful bot escapes, promising to return. Meanwhile, a group of elite soldiers breaks into a heavily fortified building to capture another dangerous robot named Carcass. They breach the door with explosive force and immediately come under attack. Carcass fights through the soldiers with brutal efficiency, killing several as he tries to escape. When he realizes he's completely surrounded, the robot makes a desperate leap down the stairwell. Before he can get far, the soldiers blast him with a massive electric laser that shuts him down completely. Early the next morning, an AI assistant wakes Atlas up. She groggily asks for something to drink and turns on the news. The broadcast confirms that the robot Carcass has been captured. Atlas immediately rushes to the military facility where the robot is being held. At the base, the general tells the colonel that he trusts Atlas for the interrogation, but the colonel strongly disagrees, clearly doubting her abilities. Atlas arrives at the facility and heads straight to the containment area. She unlocks a secure box containing Carcass's severed head and begins her interrogation. Using clever psychological tactics, Atlas tricks the robot into revealing critical information. Suddenly, Carcass fires a small projectile at her face. Atlas reacts instantly, blocking the attack before destroying the robot's head completely. She turns to the general and insists that she needs to join the mission to capture Harlan. The general refuses, saying he wants the colonel to lead the operation instead. The general takes Atlas to show her some new robot designs. When they arrive, a robot politely offers her coffee, and Atlas is visibly surprised by how human-like it seems. The colonel explains that the bot is synced to him, allowing them to share thoughts and movements. Atlas tries once again to convince the general that they need her expertise to capture Harlan. After considering her arguments, the general finally approves her participation. Later, Atlas sits alone in a bunker and plays an old tape. The recording shows her mother when she was alive, sharing warm memories about artificial intelligence and its potential to help humanity. Atlas arrives at a briefing room where she distributes instruction manuals to the soldiers. She firmly tells them that no personal technology is allowed on this mission because it cannot be trusted. The colonel gives a rousing speech about the importance of their objective, and the team dismisses to prepare. Atlas walks into a massive hangar filled with combat robots and waits, staring at the machines with obvious unease. She approaches the colonel and warns him that they need to be extremely careful about this mission. The colonel nods, but before they can discuss further, alarms begin blaring throughout the base. Harlan has launched a surprise attack and is actively destroying their facility. Atlas struggles through the chaos and manages to climb into one of the combat robots just as the floor collapses beneath her. She falls from a great height while enemy robots swarm the base, attacking aggressively from all directions. The soldiers fight back with everything they have. Inside her robot, Atlas hears an urgent voice telling her to sync with the machine to unlock its full combat potential. She refuses, not trusting the AI. Without the sync, she crashes heavily to the ground, sustaining several painful bruises. She tries desperately to communicate with the base, but all she gets is static. With no other options, she decides to locate a rescue pod on foot. Part of her robot is too damaged to function properly, so she has to walk through the wilderness alone. As she moves through the devastated landscape, Atlas discovers the bodies of her entire team lying dead on the ground. She panics but forces herself to collect all their identification tags, refusing to leave anyone behind. She notices that one soldier is missing from the group. Suddenly, enemy robots detect her position and attack. Atlas runs as fast as she can, but the machines chase after her relentlessly. She runs directly into a violent storm and crashes badly against the rocky terrain. The enemies keep attacking, so she launches a desperate blast from her damaged robot. The explosion is so powerful that it opens a massive crack in the ground, and several enemy robots fall deep inside. Unfortunately, Atlas also falls and breaks her leg bone in the process. The robot scans her injury and immediately begins repairing her broken leg with emergency medical procedures. The AI voice tells Atlas that they need to sync completely so they can become strong enough to survive. One of the enemy robots rises from the crack in the ground and reports the situation to his boss, Harlan. Back with Atlas, the robot is unable to sync with her using normal methods. It tries a different approach by accessing her memories, and this time the connection works. They blast their way out from underground and continue their journey toward the rescue pod. An enemy drone spots them from above. Atlas and her robot realize they're being watched and fire rockets at the nearby hills, destroying the surveillance equipment. They find the enemy's severed head on the ground and crush it with the robot's massive hand. Shortly after, Atlas and her robot, which she now calls Smith, have a brief argument about what to do next. Smith wants to take a safer route, but Atlas insists they move quickly. They proceed with the journey to the pod. When they finally arrive at the rescue pod's location, Atlas sees from a distance that the enemies have captured a nuclear warhead. The enemy forces discover them almost immediately and launch an attack. They hack through Smith's systems and capture both Atlas and her robot. Back at the military base, the remaining soldiers receive a distress message that Atlas sent earlier. Harlan approaches Atlas with a cold smile. He explains his entire plan to destroy the planet using the nuclear warhead, and Atlas realizes with horror that everything was a setup from the beginning. The enemy soldiers tie her to a metal bench while Harlan attempts to extract her military clearance codes. Beside her, the colonel is also captured and restrained. He manages to slip her his earpod so she can connect to Smith. The robot tells her that she needs to sync with him fully if they want any chance of survival. They go back through memory lane, and Atlas relives the traumatic moment when she accidentally allowed Harlan to sync with her years ago. That connection made Harlan incredibly powerful. And he used that power to kill her mother and bring misery to the entire world. Atlas finally decides to trust Smith and connects with him fully. The sync is complete. They break free from the restraints, but Smith's body is too damaged to continue fighting. They quickly switch to a new upgraded robot that's much more powerful. Atlas advances toward Harlan to kill him, but his soldiers are already waiting outside the building. She fights her way through them with brutal efficiency, using the upgraded robot's advanced weapons. The colonel manages to launch a missile that blasts through the entire building, helping Atlas advance more quickly. Just when she thinks she has control of the situation, Harlan appears from nowhere and shoots her from behind. Atlas stands up and they begin fighting intensely. During the battle, the nuclear warhead launches into the sky. Atlas fires a missile at it and destroys the warhead mid-flight. The explosion rains fire down on them, and Atlas runs as fast as possible to avoid the deadly debris. She stops running and decides to finish this once and for all by killing Harlan. They fight aggressively, exchanging devastating blows. Harlan is too fast and manages to destroy her robot's outer armor. Atlas tries to read his fighting patterns and launches a surprise attack on him. However, Harlan manages to destroy the robot's power unit, and Atlas passes out from the impact. Smith desperately tries to wake her up while Harlan attempts to break through the robot's hull and kill her. At the last moment, Atlas wakes up, strikes from behind, and kills Harlan. She rips out his CPU chip as proof of his death. Smith tells her that she's running out of oxygen and they won't both make it back to base. He makes the ultimate sacrifice, transferring all his remaining power to Atlas's life support so she can survive. A rescue team arrives shortly after and takes her back to the base. Atlas thanks the general for trusting her with the mission. The general smiles and shows her something special. They've built a new upgraded robot specifically designed for Atlas, and she absolutely loves it. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.